what I'm going to share with you over the next few minutes, that, as I mentioned, is the way for you to protect and to increase the value of the investment that you have already done with SAP Business One, the number one system integrated solution for small and medium-sized companies around the world. The way to do that at this point is it's twofold. One of them is make sure that as Andres mentioned at one point, implement the things that you might not have finalized implementing. For instance, some things might have been left for phase 2. This probably is the perfect time for phase 2. The other thing that I would like you to take into consideration is what we're going to be covering over the next few minutes, which is the maintenance service, keeping your maintenance updated so that you can take advantage of what SAP has added to the solution on one end, and then on the other end, what's coming in the near future. And what has come in the latest release. So let's do that. Now, Clara, if I may share my screen, that would be fantastic. I'm not sure.
Yes, absolutely. You can share your screen now.
Fantastic. I hope you can see my screen. And,
yes, we can.
So as I mentioned, the idea is to realize the full value of your investment, and to help you keep up with the innovations that SAP brings. So that there are a couple of things that you can achieve. One of them is the one thing that I stress in the conversations that I had with the companies that I meet is, we as a small and medium-sized companies need to be as effective as possible and as efficient as possible. And by effective is we need to see how we can sell as much as we can sell, how we can leverage or take up advantage of the opportunities of new business models, for instance, and at the same time making sure that we don't have inefficiencies in our organizations. So our organizations are typically, limited in terms of resources. So, people, money, and resources in general. We tend to wear different hats at the same time, and we not always have all the controls that we want to have, because they cost money. SAP Business One helps us bring that, helps us put all the controls, the alerts, and the efficiencies again, to make sure that you don't, as I often say it, you don't bleed money. The small and medium-sized companies, and we are a small and medium-sized company, we bleed money. We have little scratches in our skin, and then we have little bleeding of cash. We don't realize that until they become hemorrhage, and that's when we take action. So what I urge you to do is let's take care of those little cuts, because the revenues that we so hardly get, so difficult to get, and the net income at the end of the exercise, they vary significantly, by 1 percentage point due to those inefficiencies. The best way to keep up with this is to make sure that you have the latest and greatest of your system. There are a couple of elements that with which you have you are kind of like forced to be as much as possible in the latest release or version of SAP Business One. And one of them, of course, is the evolution of a technology. Specifically, for instance, for those of you who are running on a platform like Windows, in those platforms, you've seen the evolution of the operating systems, the evolution of the databases that were out there in the market 5 years ago are not supported anymore, maybe, or the operating system. And the reason is because they bring new technologies, they bring new capabilities, take advantage of the power in the servers. And this kind of like forces us to move along with them, and those are the advantages that you have with being current in your maintenance, because you have access to all of this. Now let's take a look a little bit of a history of what has happened in the past with SAP Business One. Originally, it was launched back in 2005. That was the original version, 2005. That was pretty much at the same time when we started working with SAP, almost 15 years ago. In 2007 specifically, SAP published what I have known as their first roadmap. Look at that roadmap. When they were already knowing that they would have version 8.8, 9, 10. Back then it was a little bit different in terms of how these new versions and releases were going to be included. Specifically that year, for instance, SAP acquired Business Objects, the company that makes Crystal reports. So before this time, we had to do reports using the PLD, Print Layout Designer, or the Excel report. And now we were able to use without any additional cost, the capabilities of Crystal to do very powerful reports. That's one of the things that they added back then. Then if you go back to 10 years ago, back in 2010, the whole thing migrated a little bit. So from 2007, it moved on to 8.8, then 8.81, 8.82, 8.83, 9, 9.1, 9.2, eventually 9.3, and 10. Each one of those versions or releases that SAP usually launches every other year with the different patch levels. Today are called feature packages, as Edith mentioned, for those of you who joined her in her meeting. Take us to where we are today. That's what we're going to be talking in a few slides. But back then, 2010, SAP introduced the lifecycle management, so that you, as an SAP Business One user, could see what is it that you purchased, that you got with SAP. The cart functionality, the initial with introduction of Crystal, of analytics, the SDK to develop additional apps or functionality, and back then the introduction of the first mobile devices, and those mobile devices have evolved significantly to provide mobile access to the solution, but not only to SAP through an Android or iOS device, but also what SAP launched over the past couple of years, a specific functionality for sales mobile agents and the service mobile agents as well. This is significant capabilities that SAP brought to Business One. And back then, the initial integration frameworks from SAP, understanding that SAP as an ERP, it's not a standalone solution. It's part of the platform, and SAP specifically believes that. So from this life cycle management structure, we moved into the later one over the past couple of years that I have shared with some of you, in which the application has, or the entire solution has migrated in a significant manner. So as you can see, there there were 2 layers at the bottom added, and these are huge. One of them is the capability of SAP Business One, not only being on premise for those of you who run it on your own site, but also cloud. You can have it private cloud or which is called single tenant, or public cloud or multi-tenant, or you can still have it on premise. This is critical and almost unique to SAP Business One. A few years ago, SAP launched their revolutionary solution, which is HANA. So today it runs on 2 independent type of architectures: the Microsoft SQL and the SAP HANA, running 100% in main memory. So those are things that SAP had brought to the to SAP Business One that are significant, and that companies that first bought SAP back in 2005, 2007 can enjoy this path to where we are today. Where we are today is significant because originally what we brought initially with the reports in Crystal, and now we're talking about full business intelligence, full analytics, key performance indicators, a lot more powerful in the HANA version, because the solution and the power of the servers allow you to do that. The SQL aspect has a little bit more limitations in this area because of the architecture that just simply does not allow that to happen. And as I mentioned before, growth in terms of mobile capabilities and integration into full-blown e-commerce. So that's what's how SAP Business One has evolved from then until now. Yvette already shared this page, but for those of you who could not make it to its presentation, Rainer Zeno, he's the head of the SME marketplace and from SAP. He stated almost a year ago that SAP Business One is their strategic solution for small and medium-sized companies, and they're committed for the next 10 or 20 years, and it's the as a cornerstone, for the digital enterprise, of course, and the intelligent enterprise, which we're going to be talking a little bit. Some of you have seen me or have seen some of the presentations that I have made around the intelligent enterprise, and this is what SAP has embraced and adopted over the past couple of years significantly. And we're going to be seeing additional developments around these 5 pillars, if you will. One of them, of course, is the consumer or great experience. You need to make sure that that you provide an excellent customer experience. Your customers need to have an excellent experience interacting with you. But make no mistake, you need to make sure that your own employees also have a consumer grade experience interacting with SAP specifically, and with the tools that you provide to your employees. So SAP understands this, and then and it's committed to making sure this evolves. The new web client for the sales, the commercial operations, it's one of the answers to that. And the built-in integrations of SAP, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in a couple minutes. It's very, very powerful, because you need to have an SAP, as I mentioned, understands that this is a platform more than an ERP. And this platform needs to work seamlessly with the outside world. Whether you're reaching the final consumer who is an anonymous person anywhere and everywhere, or you're doing a business to business type of interaction, you need to make sure that that process is efficient as well, that you reduce cycles so that you can at the same time reduce the cash cycle to improve your financial position. A powerful platform to integrate, of course, cloud adoption, and of course, the latest technologies that are second to none in the market around the intelligent enterprise. Embedded artificial intelligence. This is already a reality in version 10. Machine learning, Internet of Things, advanced analytics, chatbots, so that you can integrate SAP Business One to WhatsApp, for instance. That is a reality, to Facebook. And you can interact with your end customer, that anonymous person on one-on-one type of basis in an automatic way. These are things that are already a reality for SAP Business One. So those are the things that we feel very powerful, and with the current maintenance, you are going to be enjoying this. I have presented this slide that puts the whole thing into the entire perspective of what the intelligent enterprise is. The inner circle around SAP Business One, the digital core, is the ERP. The sales, the logistics process, the warehousing, the manufacturing, the accounting, the service, all of that. The addition that SAP brought, for instance, with HANA, with in-memory computing, all the analytics, business intelligence, the cloud adoption, mobile, extension to add apps available in the marketplace, and of course integration. But this is only where the pretty much entire world or the other competitors of SAP have stayed. SAP believed that this is only the foundation for the intelligent enterprise. If you're not effective and efficient, connecting to your customers and doing and shortening your cycles, you're going to be bleeding money without even knowing. We, as Consensus, we embraced the Internet of Things, specifically in these type of technologies, and we are very proud and thankful for SAP recognizing Consensus, both of our operations in North America and in Latin America, as the innovation partner for SAP. So we, Consensus International here in the US, were the innovation partner for SAP in the US and Canada. And our operation in Colombia got the same award for their operation through covering everything from Mexico all the way down to Argentina and Brazil in Latin America. So we do have a team of people. The role is innovation, and that's what they do. So they help you bring in robotic process automation, connecting SAP Business One to sensors, to things, whether they are at the shop floor in the manufacturing plant, or just any type of sensor to get closer to your end customer with, for instance, the buttons that our friends from Amazon introduced us to. Robotics and machine learning, the latest MRP from SAP in version 10 includes that type of capability already. Now you can create new business models. We have seen and we have helped a number of companies that have joined us in these sessions that we're doing exclusively wholesale distribution, working only on a B2B business model. Now they have implemented through different DBAs, for instance, different web pages, so forth and so forth. They are reaching the end customer, and with the appropriate logistics and fulfillment processes, they have added new business models that before they couldn't even think of. And as I mentioned, social and voice and natural language interaction that has been a reality for SAP Business One for a few years already. So these are the things that we can help you with. Please let us help you with. Now let's talk briefly about what we're bringing here with the latest versions and feature packages. The vision of SAP is to strengthen Business One to be the ERP for SME, as I mentioned, and provide the state-of-the-art user experience for the employees as well as for the end customers. And it did share this slide, the roadmap towards at least 2024, and the capabilities are around these key themes: the core, the globalization, analytics, mobile, extensibility, and then cloud. Things that have been introduced in the latest version 9.3 and 10. And we're going to have a version specifically about version 10. So I'm not going to be giving you a whole lot of detail about that. But these are the plot innovations about the core, the attractiveness, as I mentioned, your customer experience, the easiness of migrating and adopting new technologies. The web client, right now, very rich functionality, now supported in SQL version also. And at the same time, making the solution a lot more competitive and reducing the total cost of ownership. Globalization, for those of you who have operations internationally, you know that this is key to make sure that SAP Business One supports the local legislations, no matter the country where you operate, and the additional regulations that you have, for instance, the IFRS financial regulations in the EU that have been adopted in Latin America as well. A whole new set of tools in the analytics and reporting, more geared towards HANA, of course. The capabilities of integration, as I mentioned, and extending the functionality through partners and add-ons, mobile scenarios, and then, of course, the adoption of cloud. One of the latest things, as I did mention in her presentation, is the move from SAP. From the release of these new releases and patch levels to what they call now a feature package. So now you're not going to be getting a patch level 1, 2, 3 to 13 or whatever. You're going to be getting a feature package. These feature packages are going to be released on a quarterly basis, so to speaking. The nomenclature of the feature package, it initially starts with a version, for instance, version 10, FP as for feature pack 2008, 20 for the year and 08 for the month. So the SAP Business One 10.0 FP or feature package to 2008 means that it is the feature package launched in August and the year 2020. That was before called the SAP Business One 10 patch level 3. So this has additional alignment of where the maintenance releases are going to be coming, which is I think very good news for all of us. So as I mentioned, I invite you and urge you to work with us. Keep your investment, keep the value of your investment, increase the value of your investment, taking advantage of the new features and releases that SAP is constantly adding to the solution. Now, in regards with support, please help us work better with you. Send us a ticket. Send us the ticket to support@consensusintl.com or give us a call if you want, but it's significantly more effective if you send us your ticket. When you send us a ticket, please provide as much context and information as you can. Give us screenshots and the like, so that we can replicate the issue that you might have. Log into the support platform. As I mentioned, include name and contact information, all the relevant information about the ticket, and if need be, of course, give us a call. The support platform, you can have visibility of your tickets, where you are, where they are, and you can even create a new incident right there and then. These are the different support levels. Consensus takes care of first and second level support. We have very smart people, recognized at SAP level also. And if there is anything, maybe a bug, they don't happen hardly ever, but if they happen with a specific feature package or previous patch levels, we have escalating procedures towards the support operations structures from SAP here in North America, the development teams and the support teams in Europe, and the development team in China, so that we can help you be operation at all time. These are our hours of service. All of you should have that. And we recently introduced our customer experience team. Clara, of course, and Carla. We're here to help you. We're a small and medium-sized business also. We're not perfect. We make mistakes, but we never make mistake intentionally. And you always know at this point that if we make a mistake, we will go way out of our way to fix it. So help us help you. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Mauricio. Thank you very much for your presentation. I'm gonna be sharing my screen while I see that some questions are coming in, and I want to remind everyone that we still have one more session today. That it's a very practical session. It's a step-by-step for the end of the year processes that you all need to do. So if you haven't registered for that session, you can use this time, and we are sharing through the chat. We are sharing the link that you need to use in order to register for that session that will start at 1:05 p.m. So in brief, and we do have some comments also on the chat. One of our customers saying the support team are the best. Thank you very much, Laura. We do appreciate that kind of feedback, and any feedback, really. And on the questions, we do have some questions for you, Mauricio. There is
the answer is maybe.
No, we have a very specific question. We have a couple of personal questions for you regarding Pfizer, but that would maybe, I think you can take that individually. But we do have a
think I'd rather answer the personal questions. I'm social. I'm sorry. All right. If we have time, we'll cover the Pfizer.
This customer is asking specifically, he needs more information about the international systems, specifically about Brazil from the NFE 4.0, and is this an exclusive characteristic of the new version 10? I'm not sure if I understand correctly the question. I can read it to you in Spanish. ¿Podría recibir más información de los sistemas internacionales, más en particular de Brasil, de la NFE 4.0?
I'm not familiar with NFE 4.0. Brazil, it's a supported solution. If you want to implement a Brazilian operation with your infrastructure of SAP Business One, you can do that. You can create a new database with the Brazilian localization. Brazil has challenges as their taxing and regulations in Brazil are very complex and probably second to none. We have partners locally that we work with so that they can help us replicate the model that you have here in the US or in other markets and in other countries, probably in Latin America, and they can provide locally the implementation. Brazil has, being a federal state country, different regulations by state. Brazil charges you taxes when you're moving inventory from your own warehouse in one state to another. So you have to pay taxes even when you don't even sell a single item. If you move your inventory, you have to be very careful with this and many other situations. But yes, we can help you in Brazil.
Fantastic. I think we will contact you individually, Jose Antonio, regarding this. And I have another question from a different customer asking, what is the cost of implementing a new version of SAP Business One?
The cost of implementing a new version of SAP Business One should be, there are two elements. One of them, you have the right, if you're current of your maintenance, you have the right to have this new version. You have the right to it, and it can be brought. There are several ways of doing it, and there are several elements. And again, it all depends on the specific deployment that you have, the complexity of your architecture, number of users, and so forth, that might make this a very simple, straightforward, a few hours type of process to a little bit more time consuming. We're going to be having a session. Clara, please remind me if it is, I believe it's going to be tomorrow or Thursday.
Yes, tomorrow we have a session specific on what an upgrade entails. It's a session that is going to be delivered by Richard Calvo, and we're going to be sharing the link so that you can see all the agenda for today, tomorrow, and Thursday. And you can register to that session, that it's a shared session between Edith Sagui and Richard Calvo, and he will take us through all the steps that need to be.
To your specific question, what is the cost? Having access to the licenses and feature packages and so forth has no cost. It's included in your maintenance. It's one of the things that is included. We also include 4 hours of technical support from our team in the process of doing the migration and testing and so forth. We will do a plan with you and your team to see if, for instance, you're required to do migration in the test environment first, do testing on that, making sure that every single thing in terms of your operations, access to users and so forth is going to be, is not going to be affected. And then doing the physical migration in your, on your production environment. More often than not, these new versions, for instance, bring additional functionality. So there might be additional cost associated with implementing this functionality from our capable consultants.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much, Mauricio, for your answers. We have no more questions right now. If you have any questions and you think about them later, please send us an email. You can send an email to info@consensusintl, and we will get back to you individually. Now we're gonna conclude.
Wait a minute. We still have 3 minutes. What were the questions about Pfizer?
Jose Antonio wanted to know if you got your, when you left Pfizer, if they paid to you in actions.
Actually, no. Well, no, the stock of Pfizer, the stock options, yeah. I did enjoy the stock options program from SAP, being an executive with the company for many years. In the initial phases of when I first joined that was almost 50% of Pfizer employees' income. At least 30% was that type of benefit. Then when all this what the pharma world talks about the blockbusters, the hypertension, cholesterol, erectile dysfunction, all those type of mega drugs were discovered already. From then on, it was more niche type of products. So the stock has not evolved. It used to double every 6 months, a year, or something like that. It was fantastic. Not so much anymore.
Well, question answered. Thank you so much, Mauricio, and thank you everyone for joining us. You're going to see a survey. It's really, really short. It'll take you less than a minute to answer it. And we really value your feedback about these sessions. And remember that each survey that you actually fill is giving you a new opportunity on the raffle for a brand new iPad Air that we will give away. So thank you for participating, and I hope I'll see you on the next session, which is starting in 5 minutes.
Thanks so much.